Hello everyone, this is Magbo Gaming here, and yeah, another discussion video. This whole situation with the 9th gen consoles, and this is the continuation of my PS5 video that got like thousands of views. A lot of people were discussing it with me, and there's a lot of good opinions, bad opinions. Everyone's opinion still matters, and I like to hear it, and I read every single one of them. Okay, so why does the 9th generation of consoles sucks? And why Nintendo's better off than the other two competitors? Rat time! And we already discussed about the PS5, right? That there's lack of exclusive. You take out all the remasters and rehashes, and games that are supposed to be exclusive to the PS5 are also on PS4, all that stuff. You're not gonna get much games. There could be, like some people were saying in the comments, some third-party exclusive on the PS5. I think Returnal being one of them, I guess, and there could be several others as well that I'm not really aware of, so I'm still digging into it. But regardless, I don't regret not buying a PS5 at this time, and I'm more than happy to continue with Switch, Steam Deck, my PS4, and all the other retro consoles I own. I'm more than enough entertained with all that. I don't need a PS5 anytime soon. Xbox Series X is a lot worse off, in my opinion, because they barely have exclusive whatsoever. The Starfield game they had last year, now they announced that it's eventually going to come to the PS5, to PC and all that stuff. You don't even need an Xbox console to actually play Game Pass. Yeah, and I know that's not what Microsoft is focusing on. But the thing is, what's going on with the 9th generation is that games are taking way too long to make. Like, you keep focusing on graphics. You keep focusing on hiring the resolution, the frame rates, and all that stuff. And what video games are really all about is the fun, is the creativity, and the gameplay. If you're having a good experience with the game, graphics should not always matter. I've been saying this for a long time. Graphics should not matter. So Nintendo was right there. SATORU Iwata, rest in peace. He literally predicted this more than 10 to 20 years ago. He even said it like almost before 2010 came around.
I want you to know that Nintendo is working on our next system, and that system will create a gaming revolution. I suppose I could give you a list of our technical specs. I believe you'd like that. But I won't, for a simple reason. They really don't matter.
I don't remember the exact year he said it. I think it was 2006, but correct me if I'm wrong, because I could be wrong. But Satoru Iwata said he doesn't want to continue competing with the console race, and this was before the Wii came out, because he realized that eventually graphics are going to get so advanced, it's going to be a lot more difficult and more expensive to develop for them. And that's exactly what's happening now. Like, games for the PS5 and Series X, mostly on PS5, it's taking like 5 to 7 years to develop for this thing. That's insane, honestly. And this is why we still have hope with the indie developers. Nintendo doesn't compete with these guys, so Nintendo are still releasing a lot of AAA games of their titles, from the Marios, the Zeldas, Pokemon, Kirby's, Animal Crossing, Fire Emblem, and many other franchises out there. Metroid, you get the idea. So they have a lot of IPs, they have several second-party studios making games for them, and they don't have to make the most impressive graphics out there. The Switch proves that, it's living proof. Like, people love the experience, people love the fun, and that's why the Switch sold so much better than Xbox. And sure, PS4 actually got close to Switch. It had a lot of games, a lot of exclusive back in the 8th gen console. But now with PS5, we're getting less because the games are taking longer to produce. They're getting a lot more expensive. They're getting expensive to the point that if they don't sell like a few million units, they're gonna go bankrupt and they're gonna shut down studios, just like what Microsoft is doing with several of their studios. Even the hi-fi game that was very original, very creative on the Xbox, but it cost a lot to make, even though it sold decently well, but they still shut it down, which is pretty crazy. So that's the problem they have, and Microsoft is buying so much studios, and then eventually they just cut them off because they're not profitable enough. This is the problem with the video game industry today. It's greed. It's like they care about profits rather than being creative with their games. And that's why the indie scene exists. To fill that void. Because without these indie developers out there, we're not gonna have much good games out there anymore. We have to depend on Nintendo, which is fine with me because I love Nintendo, but it's crazy like how this whole issue with the video game industry is because people want to create the best graphics out there to impress, to compete, and then eventually got to the point where Xbox says, okay, I'm done competing, I'm just gonna go multi-plat and everything else. PS5 is still trying to stay firm with the console race, but it's not gonna last forever, I'll tell you that. So we just don't know. At this point, I don't care about more advanced graphics. PS6 is nowhere near should be ready to be launched in like 4 years or less. No, you gotta give PS5 a lot more time to develop their library. And I'm really happy that PS4 is still around because look at this, PS4, I still own it. I own this since 2016. It's been like 8 years since I owned this thing almost. And I got my money well spent. PS4 games are still coming out. And it's the quality, honestly. Sure, graphics. They're graphical games, but there are also all these other games, the indie developers. Like, I don't see indie going down anytime soon. And they can make games that are even compatible with PS3 if they could. But you know, PS4 is still gonna get almost all the indie games that are coming out, and Nintendo Switch as well. Even with the Switch 2 come out, Switch is gonna be around for a while. So, the main topic of this whole thing is the 9th generation. Commend SATORU IWATA for actually predicting this beforehand. They did not compete with Microsoft and Sony after the PS3 and Xbox 360 came out. And they did their own thing. And it worked out for them in the long haul. Sure, they got ridiculed, they got criticized a lot for all these years. But they were unique. They took a different approach. All this time, the Switch is definitely not as powerful as the next gen at all. The Wii U was a failure. They had to go through that, but the 3DS held its own at least. It helped out through the dark times, to be honest. And then we have, like I said, the Switch. It's been widely successful. They found the perfect formula. Iwata actually did help the development of the Nintendo Switch. You know, the hybrid console, the handheld and the console market, both together at once. And we don't see PS5 or Series X or Microsoft or Sony even competing with the Switch, which I think they kind of should. They gotta have their own portables, because look at PlayStation Portal. You need a freaking PS5 to run that thing, right? And how is that working out for them? Yeah, there's a lot of people buying it. I don't know why they're spending so much money on it, but it just gets to the point, if you want to fully enjoy PS5, you gotta spend thousands of dollars. For Nintendo Switch, just get the Nintendo Switch, get a couple games and you're golden. It usually will cost you less than $300 if you get a used one. But PS5, yeah, definitely gonna have to spend like 2 or 3 times more in some ways. So what you guys think about this? What do you think about the 9th generation console? What do you think about Nintendo being better off than Sony and Microsoft at this point? Because now literally every single game you could think of that could run on the Nintendo Switch is being developed on a Nintendo Switch. Except for the super graphical game, but doesn't really matter too much. Because what I seek in a game and what I seek in the future, what I recommend that the video game industry goes for, instead of trying to focus on improving graphics and making new consoles, because we're not ready for 10th generation or anything like that. No, we're not ready for that. We're not ready for PS6. We're not ready for Xbox Series X2 or whatever it's gonna be called. No, we're not ready for any of that. If the PS5 and the Series X is nowhere near performing well, then you're gonna have to stick to a market that caters to people playing on their phones, people playing on their TVs, on their computers and all that stuff. And then eventually, yeah, you cannot focus on graphics because the general public really cares more about the gameplay, the fun, the experience. Because like otherwise we'll just be watching a movie, like the graphics and how much developing time it takes, how expensive it is. Like if it just keeps going to the graphic rates, it's just gonna get unbearable. It's just gonna get to the point where nobody's gonna be able to make games anymore for such an advanced console. So do not prematurely kill off the PS5 and the Series X, I guess you could say. Even though I don't care one bit about any of those two consoles, to be honest. But those two need more time to build their libraries. And the Nintendo Switch is the only one I would say that is more than ready to very soon bring out a new console. Not to compete with PS5 and Series X, to still be their own thing. Be able to be backward compatible with the Nintendo Switch. And be able to still have all sorts of indie games coming towards them. All sorts of experience that are new. And not worry about graphics. So that's, I think, how the video game industry needs to head towards. The fun, the experience, and, you know, the quality of the game. Take your time with the game. But, you know, make more simple games that doesn't take like 7 or more years to develop. Look at Grand Theft Auto 6. Taking almost 10 years from Grand Theft Auto 5 to come out, right? Well, more than 10 years in our case, but you get the idea. I don't know when they start developing. But yeah, that's all I have to say about this. What you guys think in the comment section below on this whole situation about, you know, Nintendo actually are doing better in the 9th gen, even though the Switch is not considered 9th gen. The 9th gen consoles are very well underperforming and not bringing out as much game because of how expensive it. Yeah, all that stuff. Comment below your thoughts. I would like to hear from you. And I hope you all very well. I hope that you find the games that you're looking for. And good luck with the hunt. Enjoy the hunt. Get the thrill of the hunt. Because if you choose to go out to hunt for video games that you want instead of just buying it online and it takes the fun out of the hunt, I think you're going to enjoy it. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Until next time, Magbo Gaming out. Bye bye. If you enjoyed this video, check out my other related videos here as well. I also have a Discord server you can join for the video game collecting community and an Instagram you can follow as well. I even got some merch you may want to check out, my TeePublic link below. Hope to see you again soon.